everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Dragway Memories. Going to start off with some wheel standing action from Dragway Park.
Wheel standing action continuing at the park. This is a different show, obviously different track. Wheel standing action, lots of sparks. Chuck Pool's Chuck Wagon. They had at least one major wheel standing meet a year, usually midsummer. I've got some showing like the July 1st weekend as being one of them. Usually had 8 booked in wheel standers, and they would compete for a championship. And a lot of them took it pretty serious, and hence the footage where they're out of shape and really didn't get it done, and they'd come back to beat their fellow competitors, even though they were an exhibition only category, was something that they didn't often have the chance to do. So they really relished the fact of all 8 of them or so in one place at one time. Somebody's going to be the winner. So they amped it up. The fans were the winners. Little Red Wagon. And I talked to Rob about, did I ever see that car live? And I'd have to say no. Of all the places I've been and seen, I don't think I ever saw the Little Red Wagon live and in color. Chevy Rebellion, yeah, almost all the other ones, but this is Richard Hutchins. He's a long-time campaigner in the wheel standing category. Chevy Rebellion. I have no idea what it had for power. Look at that, all kinds of craziness. Paddy Wagon Vega has many, many different colors, including Smokey and the Bandit colors and all different kinds. Speaking of Smokey and Bandit, there they go. Chuck Pool's Chuck Wagon.
Alright, well, we did the top 10 stalker list. We got some good feedback, so we're going to continue with the top 10 list. This is top 10 super stalkers. In no particular order, this is the way we see it. If you got somebody you think should be on the list, we'll do another list. So, here we go. Top 10 super stalkers. Well, actually the top 5 and then the top other 5 next week, but here we go.
Number 10.
Super stock action doesn't get much better than this Rob Potter shot here. Look at that. On the bumper with the 69 Camaro, Robert C. Park. He is also in the Canadian Drag Racing Hall of Fame, a multi-time record holder, now running in super stock, as a lot of them did progress from stock to stock, super stock, and Robert being on the forefront of all the super stock action to this day. This was taken at Sanair. This was a divisional race, and Rob was one of the only photographers at the standing there at all. And this came up, and Robert C. Park put him on the map. He's won numerous races with this car, predominantly a Super J automatic car. So that would be a 255 350. He used a turbo 350 automatic. And this car is alive and well today. Paul Pauly bought it off and they became partners. It had Camaro Junction sponsorship on it for a while. And it got Bob some big time sponsorship and oil sponsorships and that sort of thing. It is now a Hugger Orange, still in Super J automatic car. And you can see it in modern day Can-Am races. Rich Jukowski owning it now and keeping the name alive, and Bob Park still actively campaigning with his late model Camaro 3rd Gen, and he is one nice guy and lots of stories to tell, and we've got more for Robert C. Park coming your way.
Number 9.
And we're talking class racing, super stock. Pete Fedden immediately comes to mind. Not only with his own cars, but a lot of customer cars. Fedden Performance, predominantly an engine building shop. They worked largely with Joe Fiervanti and those boys. And they eventually had Wally Park because they're local Niagara Falls area racers. Wally Clark joined with Pete Fedden, and they had two similar 67 Camaros. This one, Super I or H automatic car, was a 295 horse 350. This was a real SS car, had the SS hood on it, which was that one hood was allowed for that power plant. And boy, oh boy, this is a record holder car too. And then when Wally Clark came on board, both of them went up a notch, and they eventually end up being painted the same. Wally's was a rally sport, so he had the hideaway lights. Peter's had the lights out in the open, and both of them had 295 horse 350s, turbo 350. Experimented with power glides, but back then with the converters as they were, you see they have a Vitar, big Vitar sticker. They had some of the loosest converters around until Marv Ripes from A1 developed an Opel 7-inch converter that would last. And Peter Fedden in the burnout box with Peter McRitchie, longtime campaigner, super stock racer par excellence.
Number 8.
And we got to get a Ford racer in. This is Don Henderson. He was very prolific, took from us way too early. He taught a lot of guys. He was very selfless in that regard. I know Don Palmer speak very favorably of Don Henderson and the knowledge that he quite freely shared with people. The Brent County Motors was one of his more famous rides. This was a factory car, and he drove this thing with a stick, 427, and it had two 4-barrels on it. He did switch back and forth a single 4-barrel version, but it mostly was in Super Stock C, which had the 425 horse 427 version of this Fairlane factory car.
Number 7.
And you can't say Super Stock without people like John Elliott and the Sandy Elliott Performance Center. They were everywhere. They drove many countless miles. They had a lot of power plants in and out of these machines. This thing was the original cheer car that Barry Poole drove at first, and John Elliott was running the Comet 202 and Super G automatic, and they got their hands on a brand new 69 428 Super Cobra Jet flat hood car. And initially they got John driving this car with an automatic, a Super G automatic as well, and just wasn't doing it for him, and they put the stick in it, and bam, you had a superstar. John was very young at this point, was very interested in British Fords in a road racing capacity, but he took to drag racing. He had the best teacher in Barry Poole. And this car was the second NHRA national event winning car, the first one being Barry Poole, who did it twice in 1970 and 1971 at the Winter Nationals. John Elliott won the 71 Spring Nationals in this car to become the second Canadian. The third Canadian, Ralph Hope, in the Mr. Crude Anglia. In the Hall of Fame, John Elliott, along with his father and Barry Poole.
Number 6.
And here's some super stock action of note. And this is the burgundy colored Belmont Chev Olds 68 Camaro of Lance Hill. And this car had many different versions of it. It was originally butternut yellow, and they painted it burgundy because all the Detroit Rat Pack guys were going to paint their cars the same as Dick Aaron's Camaro, which was burgundy from new. And all of them painted them except for Wally Booth, who kept his car green. And they were fairly tight, and I think they still communicate today. And Barry Poole, being very close to Lance Hill, Still goes to, say it was Wally Booth's birthday, you could see them all there. Not Lance. Lance is very reclusive. But this is a 1969 shot of this car. It's a big block car. And they ran this car with a 3 1/4 horse 396, predominantly with the automatic. Lance Hill, Belmont, Toronto. Later this car became a Pro Stocker in painted white.
Alright, we're going to give the box art a bit of a rest for a little while here, and I'm going to present some model cars built by myself and a few of my friends. Here we go.
Smile.
I am smiling. Okay, that's all for this week's edition of Dragway Memories. If you like what you saw, please hit that subscribe button, and I'm hoping you all hook hard, you go straight, you're never late, and may your God bless you. See you next week.